It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as First Lady of the United States.
Heard on this. So a number of women have come forward. They've made allegations against your husband. Some of them go back more than 30 years. He has said they're lying. Do you believe him?
I believe my husband.
What about some of the language he uses? He curses.
Do I agree all the time with him? No, I don't.
They say silence hides the darkest truths. And Melania Trump? She has mastered the art of silence. For years, she stood beside Donald Trump, watching, listening, knowing everything. But what if she wasn't just a bystander? Whispers are growing, clues are surfacing. Melania wasn't just there, she was a witness. A witness to the hidden deals, the quiet negotiations, and the forces that propelled Trump to the presidency. Now something has changed. The cracks are showing. And the real question is, why now? Why is Melania's silence no longer enough? Stay with us, because once this truth comes out, nothing will ever be the same again. The secret childhood, a hidden agenda? Melania Trump's early life has always been described as simple, a quiet childhood in Slovenia, far from the luxury she would later embrace. But behind this seemingly ordinary life, there are details that raise questions. Details that suggest her path was not entirely her own, but shaped by forces few have dared to explore. Her father, Viktor Knavs, was not just a car salesman. His ties with the League of Communists of Yugoslavia placed him in a position of influence. During a time when strict government control determined who succeeded and who remained in the shadows, Viktor's connections allowed his family to live with privileges that others could only dream of. The Knavs family resided in a comfortable state-managed apartment, an unusual luxury in a country where private property was tightly restricted. But there was something even more unusual. Melania and her sister were secretly baptized, a direct contradiction to the state's anti-religious policies. In communist Yugoslavia, religion was discouraged, and practicing faith openly often led to serious consequences. Yet the Knavs family managed to do this without facing any known repercussions. Was this a simple act of faith, or did they have protection from someone with power? As Melania grew up, her fascination with Western culture became evident. Unlike many in her country who had little access to Western influences, she had early exposure to foreign fashion and media. Her father's position allowed the family to own a car, something rare in Slovenia at the time, and they traveled frequently. While many were restricted from experiencing life outside communist rule, Melania had a glimpse into a different world, one that she seemed destined to enter. Her modeling career began at a young age, and her rise was faster than most. Slovenia was not known as a major hub for modeling, yet she found herself with opportunities that were rare for someone from her background. She left for Milan and Paris, gaining access to top designers and agencies, something that usually required strong connections or backing from powerful figures. By the time she moved to New York in the 1990s, she was already positioned for success. But was this entirely due to talent and ambition? Many models struggle for years to gain recognition, yet Melania was quickly introduced to influential circles. Her path crossed with Donald Trump in 1998, and the rest is widely known history. But was this meeting purely by chance, or was it part of something larger? Some have speculated that her upbringing and rapid success were not as accidental as they seemed. Could her family's past connections have played a role in shaping her journey? Did she have silent supporters ensuring she reached the right places at the right time? Melania has always remained reserved about her past, choosing to focus on her life in America rather than discuss her early years in detail. While there is no concrete evidence of hidden influences, the circumstances surrounding her rise remain intriguing. From a childhood under communist rule to becoming the First Lady of the United States, her journey is one that leaves many questions unanswered. Was Melania's story one of luck and perseverance, or was there a carefully guided path leading her to power? The truth may never be fully known, but one thing is certain: her past holds more than meets the eye. The mysterious modeling years. A double life? The official story is simple. A young girl from Slovenia rises to fame through her modeling career. But if you look deeper, the cracks begin to show. Melania's modeling career wasn't just about fashion, it was about movement, connections, and access. She left Slovenia and entered a world where powerful men dictated the rules. Her involvement with elite European photographers and businessmen was more than just work. It was networking at the highest level. In 1992, she participated in a modeling contest that promised international fame. But instead of embracing the opportunity, she turned down an offer that could have skyrocketed her career. Why? Some insiders whisper about an incident that led her to abruptly reject a lucrative deal. An incident involving someone very powerful. Someone who would later cross paths with her again. Melania was known for her beauty, but she was also known for her ability to remain silent when needed. Unlike many aspiring models who chase the spotlight, she stayed away from unnecessary attention. She understood that being in the right circles mattered more than being on magazine covers, and so she moved carefully, choosing her steps wisely. Then came the biggest twist. Her sudden move to the United States under the guidance of Paolo Zampoli, a man known not just for managing models but for facilitating introductions between young European women and high-profile American businessmen. Melania's journey to the U.S. was no coincidence. It was strategic. Zampoli had deep connections with influential figures in New York. His work was not just about placing models in fashion shows, it was about placing them in rooms where deals were made, and Melania was placed in one such room where she met a man who would change her life forever: Donald Trump. Their meeting wasn't random. Trump was known for his interest in European models, and Melania fit the profile. But unlike others who came and went, she stayed. She played her role perfectly, reserved, mysterious, and always in control of her image. Trump was used to women seeking fame through him, but Melania was different. She wasn't chasing the cameras, she was chasing something else. Even after she became Mrs. Trump, questions remained. How did she secure a visa so quickly? Her official story suggested she followed the legal process, but records hinted at something unusual. Special visas were granted to individuals with extraordinary abilities, and while Melania was a model, she wasn't exactly a global icon at the time. Yet she got the visa. Some speculate that she was more than just a model. She was someone valuable to the right people. Whether it was through information, connections, or something else entirely, she had something that made her worth keeping close. And so she climbed higher, from modeling to marrying one of the most powerful men in the world. But power comes with a cost. Even as First Lady, she remained an enigma. She rarely spoke, avoided political controversies, and seemed to be playing a long game that few could understand. Unlike past First Ladies who embraced activism or the media, Melania remained distant. When stories about her past surfaced, they were quickly dismissed. When questions arose, they were met with silence. Some say she was simply a private person. Others believe she knew too much. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is clear: Melania Trump's rise was no ordinary success story. It was calculated, precise, and filled with secrets that may never fully come to light. Her relationships in Europe, her decision to move to the U.S., and the people she aligned herself with all suggest a carefully crafted plan. Those close to her claim she always had a vision, one that extended far beyond modeling. She was not just another face in the crowd, she was a woman with a purpose. Even now, questions linger. Did she know Trump's rise to power was inevitable? Was she placed in his path intentionally? And most importantly, what role did she truly play behind closed doors? History will continue to analyze Melania Trump, but one fact remains: her story is far from ordinary. It is a narrative filled with intrigue, strategy, and quiet power, one that may only be fully understood with time. The Trump connection, a marriage of convenience? When Melania met Donald Trump at a high-profile event, the official version painted it as love at first sight. But behind the scenes, whispers hinted at a different reality, one shaped by ambition, power, and careful planning. Melania had been in the U.S. for years, yet her work visa status was uncertain. Then came Donald Trump, a wealthy and influential man with political aspirations. Their relationship moved quickly, and before long, the Slovenian model had a secured future. But was this truly a fairy tale romance or a transaction that benefited both? Some reports suggest Melania was being prepared for this role long before she stepped into the public eye. She fit the image Trump needed: elegant, composed, and most importantly, quiet. She became the ideal political partner, never overshadowing him, never challenging his dominance. But as time passed, subtle cracks began to appear. Melania, who had always maintained a reserved presence, started showing signs of resistance. One of the biggest moments came when she wore the now infamous jacket with the words, "I don't care, do you?" Many speculated it was a message, a glimpse into her true feelings about the political storm surrounding her husband. Then there were the public moments that didn't go unnoticed. The way she pulled her hand away from Trump's grasp, the cold expressions, the distant body language. It was as if she was trying to communicate something without saying a word. Some believed these were acts of defiance, while others saw them as calculated moves to maintain her own space within the chaos of Trump's presidency. Despite the whispers and speculation, Melania remained by Trump's side, fulfilling the role of First Lady with minimal controversy. But insiders claim she was never fully comfortable in the spotlight. Unlike past First Ladies who championed causes and took strong public stances, Melania stayed mostly in the background. Even her Be Best campaign felt like a formality rather than a passion project. As Trump's time in office neared its end, Melania's actions became even more telling. She reportedly delayed moving into the White House, renegotiating her prenup before making the transition. Some saw this as a strategic move, ensuring financial security for herself and their son Barron before stepping into an unpredictable political world. And then, after Trump's presidency, Melania disappeared from the public eye. Unlike other former First Ladies who embraced their post-White House life with new projects and public appearances, Melania chose silence. Was she finally free? Or was she simply waiting for the right moment to step away completely? Her relationship with Trump remains a mystery. Was she ever in love with him, or was this always about survival? While Melania may never openly share her true thoughts, her actions over the years have left behind enough clues for people to wonder, was she a willing participant in this story, or just another carefully placed piece on a much bigger chessboard? Many observers believe that Melania's silence is her most powerful tool. Unlike Donald Trump, who thrives on attention and controversy, Melania's ability to stay in the shadows makes her unpredictable. She does not give interviews, rarely speaks in public, and has avoided making any strong political statements. This has only fueled speculation about her true intentions and feelings. There have been multiple reports of Melania spending increasing amounts of time away from Trump, either at their residence in Mar-a-Lago or in separate living quarters. Some insiders suggest that she is simply waiting for the right time to separate officially, while others believe she is content with maintaining the current arrangement as long as it benefits her and Barron. Even during her time in the White House, Melania often seemed detached from the political chaos surrounding her husband. While previous First Ladies actively engaged in policy and advocacy, Melania kept a noticeable distance. Her rare public appearances were often scrutinized for signs of unhappiness or reluctance. One particularly revealing moment came when Trump was hospitalized with COVID-19. While most political spouses would have made public statements of concern, Melania remained silent. This was just another moment that led many to believe that their relationship was far more transactional than affectionate. In the end, Melania's story is one of quiet strategy. Whether she was groomed for this role or played along to secure her future, she has managed to maintain an air of mystery that continues to intrigue the world. The question remains, will she ever tell her side of the story, or will she continue to let silence do the talking? The hidden power of Melania Trump. Once inside the White House, Melania Trump remained a mystery. Unlike other First Ladies, she avoided the spotlight. She rarely spoke in public, never got involved in heated debates, and when she did speak, her words were measured, carefully planned. But those who worked behind the scenes noticed something unusual. Melania had a different kind of power, one that didn't come from speeches or media appearances. There were whispers about secret meetings, late-night phone calls, and private conversations that no one could explain. Some White House staff believed she had access to information that even Trump's closest advisors didn't. Others suspected she was in contact with people outside the administration, Individuals with influence and knowledge that could shake Washington's foundations. Even Donald Trump, known for his bold personality and unpredictable nature, seemed to tread carefully around her. He was never one to hold back, yet when it came to Melania, he often stepped back. Why? What did she know that made even the most powerful man in the world cautious? Melania's influence wasn't obvious, but it was there. Unlike past First Ladies who openly championed causes or shaped policies, she operated in silence. She never challenged Trump publicly, but insiders claim she had a way of making him listen behind closed doors. It was subtle, but effective. One former staff member revealed that Melania's quiet demeanor was misleading. She was always aware of what was happening in the White House. She knew the key players, their weaknesses, and their secrets. Some believe she used this knowledge to protect herself, ensuring she was never just a bystander in Trump's world. Then there were the phone calls. It wasn't unusual for Melania to step away during high-profile meetings or disappear for hours without explanation. Those who paid attention noticed a pattern. After these calls, Trump's mood would shift. Sometimes he would grow restless, other times unusually reserved. It was as if Melania had access to something that made even him pause. Reports surfaced of Melania having undisclosed meetings, some in person, others over the phone. But with whom? Some claimed she was speaking to intelligence officials, gathering information that Trump himself didn't have. Others suggested she had connections with powerful figures outside the U.S., individuals who could influence political outcomes. One particular story stands out. A former White House aide recounted an evening when Melania requested a private meeting. The details of that discussion remain unknown, but what followed was even stranger. Trump changed his stance on an issue he had been firm about just hours before. No one knew why. This raised more questions. Was Melania protecting Trump, or was she protecting herself? And if she was safeguarding her own interests, what exactly was she trying to secure? Even though Trump held the most powerful position in the country, there were moments when he seemed unusually careful around Melania. Those who observed them up close noticed that Trump, known for his aggressive and often dismissive attitude, showed restraint with her. There were instances where he would start to say something only to stop midway when he caught Melania's gaze. Some staff members joked that she had more control over Trump than anyone else in his inner circle. But was it really a joke? A security officer once remarked that Melania had a presence that was hard to define. She wasn't loud, but she didn't need to be. She commanded attention in a way that wasn't forceful, yet undeniable. There was something she knew, something she held over Trump, and whatever it was, it made even him take a step back. Melania Trump remains an enigma. She was never the traditional First Lady, never the political strategist, yet she had influence in ways few could understand. Whether she was simply a wife protecting her husband or a woman safeguarding her own future, one thing was clear. She was far more than just the quiet figure standing beside Donald Trump. And the biggest question still remains. What did she know that made even the most powerful man in the world careful around her? The final mystery of Melania Trump. As Trump's presidency came to a dramatic end, Melania's silence grew even louder. While the world focused on Trump's legal battles and political future, people couldn't help but wonder, what about Melania? Would she stay by his side, or was she already planning her exit? Unlike previous First Ladies, Melania had always been different. She never embraced the political role, rarely spoke about policies, and kept her distance from Washington's power struggles. But behind the scenes, something was happening. Legal experts whispered about a prenuptial agreement that had been revised multiple times during Trump's time in office. What had changed? And more importantly, why had it changed? Some believed she was securing her future, ensuring financial independence if things took a turn for the worse. But others suspected something far bigger. What if Melania had been preparing for her departure long before Trump left the White House? Then came the most shocking claim. Sources close to the Trump family hinted at a hidden bank account. The account, registered in Melania's name, was reportedly in a location known for protecting wealth from U.S. laws. If true, this meant one thing. Melania had been planning her escape for years. For some, this was hard to believe. After all, Melania had stood by Trump through scandals, controversies, and an entire presidency filled with chaos. But for those who had observed her closely, the signs had always been there. Melania had never seemed fully attached to the world Trump had built. She was present, but only when necessary. She smiled for the cameras, attended official events, and played the role of the First Lady. But the moment the cameras were off, she retreated into her own world, separate from Trump's political empire. Now, with Trump facing legal troubles and uncertainty about his future, the timing couldn't have been better for Melania to make her move. But what was she waiting for? Melania had always been a mystery, even before entering the White House. But those who knew her best claimed she had become even more guarded in the final months of Trump's presidency. She avoided unnecessary public appearances, spent more time away from political events, and when she did speak, it was brief and calculated. One former White House aide revealed that Melania knew things others didn't. She was always aware of what was happening behind closed doors, they said. Sometimes she knew things before Trump himself did. What kind of information did she have? And more importantly, how did she get it? Some believed Melania had connections beyond Washington, people who provided her with details about political moves, financial dealings, and even personal threats against the Trump family. If she truly had access to such secrets, it raised an even bigger question. Was she protecting Trump, or was she protecting herself? For years, Melania had been in a unique position. She was close to Trump, but distant enough to avoid being dragged into his legal and political troubles. She witnessed his private conversations, met powerful individuals from around the world, and likely learned things that could shake the foundations of power. If the rumors about the hidden bank account were true, it meant that she had been securing her own future quietly, without Trump even realizing it. It wasn't just about money, it was about freedom. But why hadn't she left yet? Was she waiting for the right moment, or was there something else keeping her tied to Trump? There was also the possibility that Melania was holding on to secrets that could change everything. If she ever decided to speak, the information she had could damage not only Trump, but also many others in Washington. But would she ever reveal the truth, or would she take everything she knew to the grave? Melania Trump remains an enigma. She entered the White House quietly and left just as mysteriously. While Trump continues to dominate headlines, Melania stays in the background, watching, waiting. Is she simply a wife standing by her husband, or is she a woman who has been planning her escape all along? More importantly, if she truly knows secrets that could shake the world, will she ever speak? Or will she disappear into a life of silence, leaving everyone to wonder what really happened behind closed doors? The story of Melania Trump is one of mystery, power, and carefully guarded secrets. But as new revelations continue to surface, one thing is clear: she is far more than just a former First Lady. The only question is, when will the truth finally come out? What do you think Melania Trump is really hiding? Let us know in the comments below.